June the 12th, 2024, and this is like take number 20. The bugs out here are going crazy today. I've had horseflies flying all around me and bees, and every time I try to film, a bug starts flying around my head, and I have to keep stopping and restarting. So hopefully this time it'll work out. I had talked about doing a second part to the semaglutide video yesterday, but I've had something on my mind all morning and decided that I wanted to change that and talk about what I've been thinking about this morning. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. I did want to go ahead and start off the video today by saying that now that I have my high-speed internet set up, that I plan on going back to doing a live video once a week. I don't want to do them on Saturdays just because, the weekends, that's family time. And I don't want to, lock in a time on the weekend. And we just have so much stuff to do around the farm. But I would like to do them on Fridays. So I plan on doing a live this Friday. I'm not exactly sure what time that'll be, but I'll touch base with everybody tomorrow. And there goes another bug again. But I'll let you guys know what time that video will be tomorrow. Like I said, I'm not really exactly sure what time I'll do it, but I do plan on going back to doing a live video once a week again. But anyway, today, like I said, I've had something on my mind all morning that I wanted to talk about. And what I want to talk about today is, and actually what sparked this idea is I was watching YouTube this morning when I woke up. And I stumbled across a video, and it was a video about people that were, in life terminal diseases, and just got me to thinking about, when I got diagnosed and what that was like for me. And there's a lot of new people to this channel, and there's a lot of people on this channel that have diagnoses like I do. And I just wanted to share, my thoughts on this today and what it was like for me when I went through what I went through. So what I want to talk today about is, what it was like for me when I got my diagnosis and was told that I had a year left to live, and what that was like and what went through my mind, how I felt, the emotions that I went through. And just the thoughts that happened during that period of time. It's one of those things, and I wrote a couple of notes today, but I really just wanted to kind of just free will this, just do it, and just talk, off the cuff. I've talked about this before, but back in May of 2022, I originally had gotten sick and ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then I worked that whole summer. I owned my own business, and I thought that I had just gotten pancreatitis, and that was going to be it. I found I had diabetes and some other stuff, gastroparesis or whatever, and a couple of other things, but I just thought they had basically told me that was it, and if I had stopped drinking, that everything was basically going to be okay. And like I said, I went back to work and worked my tail off that summer. I was really excited about my new life. I'd gotten sick, was in the hospital for a few weeks, and then got out, and I didn't feel good for about a month. I mean, I felt pretty bad, but I started feeling a little bit better. And thought, that I had a second lease on life, and, I'd, recently quit drinking. I was just excited about my new life. I really was. I just wanted to go out there and, get back to work and, make money and provide for my family. And I was just excited about living this new sober life, something I had never done before. And I had a lot of people that were really proud of me because I had stopped drinking. And it was exciting. It was an exciting time in my life. And, I was going out and doing a lot of things with my kids, just things I had never done before. And if I had done those things, I had always drank before or while I was doing them. And now I was experiencing life in a sober way, and it was different. It was new. It was exciting. It was exciting to, to be sober. And, it was exciting to have my family proud of me, There were just so many new exciting things happening. And, you know, I'd gotten sick, but I thought everything was going to be okay. And come that September, I ended up getting sick again and ended up back in the hospital. And I wound up in our local hospital and then got sent to Columbia, South Carolina, to another hospital. They're actually trying to send me to MUSC, which I wish I had done. But we were right in the middle of a hurricane when that happened. And I was worried if I went to Charleston, they were going to be understaffed. And I just thought it was going to be a mess. So I told them that I would rather go to Columbia, South Carolina. So I went to the hospital up there, Prisma Health. And because I had originally gone to the hospital, then a bunch of stuff happened. I got transferred to the ICU, and then they told me at my local hospital, look, we can't take care of you here. We're gonna have to send you somewhere that actually can handle your condition. And that's when I got sent up there, and I rode in an ambulance, about an hour and a half drive, about 5 o'clock in the morning, pouring rain. I was really scared too. It was really cold. And they had to they had to have like some kind of like certified EMT to ride in the back with me, because I had all these different like pumps, and they had to have a specific licensed EMT to sit back there with me in case any of that stuff didn't work right or whatever, because there was all this different medication that they were pumping into me at the time. I remember when we were driving down the road, the thing kept falling over on me. It was a mess. And anyway, they were hauling butt up there to Columbia. I remember it was dark, and it was pouring rain, and I was just scared to go up there for a lot of reasons. But anyway, got up there, and then I spent 2 weeks in that hospital and went through a whole bunch of different stuff. They did all kinds of tests on me. And the last day I was at the hospital, that night they had me on pain medication the whole time I was in the hospital. I was going through pancreatitis and had a whole bunch of things. I had gotten jaundice during that period of time. My eyes had turned yellow, my skin had turned yellow, my urine was like, trying to see if I could find like a leaf or something, but it was like dark brown. And I had ascites. My belly was completely full. They had done a paracentesis on me a couple times when I was in the hospital. They actually did one as soon as I arrived at the hospital. And I'd gone septic while I was in the hospital there. Just a lot of things happened. And I was very, very ill. I mean, I was as sick as I had been. And like I said, they had me on pain medication the whole time I was in the hospital. And they had me on IV Dilaudid. And the night before I left, the nurse had come in the room at like 3 o'clock in the morning and tried to give me another injection, and I told her I didn't want any more. I was actually starting to hallucinate from the pain medication. I was seeing like rainbows and like weird like kind of like kaleidoscope visions I was seeing. And I told the nurse, I said, that stuff's starting to make me hallucinate. I don't want to take any more of that. So she said, okay, no problem. And that morning, my wife had gone to work. She had taken my kids to school, and she had gone to work. And she left early that day to come up there and be with me. She arrived at the hospital about 11 o'clock in the morning, and she had just gotten into the room. And when she sat down beside me in the room, it wasn't a minute later, the hospitalist walked in. And when the hospitalist walked into the room, she sat down beside my wife and I. And, the first thing she said is, I see that you refused a Dilaudid last night. And I said I did. I said it was starting to make me hallucinate, and I just didn't like the way it was making me feel. And I said, I'm still in pain, but I just, I don't want to take any more of that. And I think they had switched me over to like an oral form of pain medication at that point. And the doctor said to me, she goes, well, since you refused a Dilaudid, we're going to go ahead and send you home. And I was really confused and taken back, because that was not the way that they had made it sound the day before. They made it sound like I was going to be there for a while longer. And I'd already been there for 2 weeks at this point. And the day before, they made it sound like I was going to be in there probably for another 2 weeks. And the doctor told me, she said, when you're on that IV Dilaudid like that, we usually need a couple days, to take you off of that. I guess they don't want you going into withdrawal or something. So I guess they slowly wean you off of it. But I had already been off of it at this point. And she said, we're going to go ahead and send you home. And she proceeded to tell me and my wife that I needed to go home and spend time with my family because I was going to be passing away soon. And my wife and I were in shock. This was news to us. I knew I was very ill, but no one had said anything like this to me yet. And, to hear that from the hospitalist and to hear that I was going home the same day, I was just really thrown off. I just did not know that I was going to be going home that soon, and to hear that news was just news to me, and it was news to my wife, and it really threw us off. My wife and I both held each other's hands, and we began to weep. And the hospitalist, she was really nice about it and said, I'm gonna leave you guys alone. I know this is really tough news to hear, but you really need to go home and spend some time with your kids and with your wife and with your family, because you don't have much longer. And she actually, when she first started the conversation, just said, you don't have much longer to live, and you need to go home and spend time with your family. And then I asked her, how long do you think I have? And she said, maybe a year. And this was September. Well, actually, it was October at this point now. It was at the very beginning of October. And I said, so I have a year left? She goes, maybe a year. And she said, I seriously doubt you'll be alive for the holiday season next year. I'm pretty sure you'll be gone before that. And right after that, she left the room. And, it's just my wife and I in there. And we cried for quite some time. And that was a really tough day for me. I proceeded to go home that afternoon. They had to do all the discharge and all that kind of stuff, and I had to get all my stuff packed up and put together. And I went home that night. I think I stayed there until about 7 o'clock that afternoon or that evening, and then came home. And I'll never forget coming home that night. My grandmother had made me some food, and my mom and my grandmother brought it over for me. And I remember trying to eat. I just couldn't. I was just not in a very good place mentally. But what I wanted to talk about today is just leading into this story. I just wanted to get the lead up. For anybody that's new to this channel doesn't know what happened to me. They told me I had cirrhosis of the liver. I had blood clots. Just a whole host of problems. I had been bleeding internally. I'd had a whole bunch of blood transfusions while I was in the hospital. Like I said, I'd gone septic. They had me on some really powerful antibiotics, IV antibiotics, and they gave me a whole list of medications I needed to get, and then they told me to go home. And the point of this talk is that what it was like for me to get that news, and what I went through emotionally after hearing that. When she first said that to me when we were in the hospital, I was in shock. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had to ask her again. I said, did you just say that I'm going to pass away? And she said, yeah. And to be completely honest with you guys, it's one of those things, we all know that day is coming one day, but we all think that it's going to happen when we're older. At least most of us do. We all expect to live to be, live to an old age. And I thought the same thing. I thought that was, I was going to live to be an old man. And at that period of time, I was 42 years old, and I'm 44 now. I was just about to turn 43. I turned 43 towards the end of October of that month. But to be 42 years old and told that you have 1 year left to live, I mean, that was a big pill to swallow. And the first thing that went through my head wasn't, how much money do I have, or what's going to happen with my possessions, my vehicles, or any of the stuff that I've held dear. the first thing that went through my head was my family. And, what was going to happen to my children? That's really hard on kids, when their parents pass away. And I just thought to myself, my children, and what is this going to do to them? That was the first thing that I thought about. And what is it going to do to my wife? How much of an impact is this going to have on her now? I thought about how bad I'd messed up, that I had drank for so long. So many people told me so many times to stop. And I knew deep down inside I needed to stop, and I never did. And all of my mistakes led me to here. And now here I am, 42 years old. I'm going to pass away in less than a year, and I'm going to leave my kids without their dad. And I'm going to leave my wife, to take care of my 3 children without me to help her any longer. And, I had been the breadwinner for, our whole relationship. I had always worked full-time. My wife had worked part-time up until we had just bought this house. My wife went, took my kids to school every day, picked them up. I wanted my children to be able to have the best life that they could, and I wanted my wife to be able to, really be a part of their life. And here it is. Now she was working full-time because we had just purchased our new home, this farm that we have. And, now I'm going to leave her. And, we have all of this stuff, we have all this property that, how's she going to handle all that? There were so many things that I did around here, I knew there's no way that she was going to be able to handle all that. And here I am, I put her in this predicament where she's probably going to have to move. And this was our, the dream that we had, worked towards, and I was going to strip it away from her. This is my wife's dream. And, I wasn't thinking about myself and the things that we had personally. I was thinking about how I just ruined my wife's dream. And, she was probably going to have to leave here. She wasn't going to be able to stay any longer. She couldn't take care of this by herself. And, I wanted my children to be able to live out in the country and play in the woods. And, that was going to be taken away from them. But more than anything, I was thinking about how I wasn't going to be here for my children any longer. And I knew that was going to be a huge impact on their life, and it was going to be a struggle for them to deal with. And that was really hard. That was really hard on me, because I knew that it was going to be really tough on my children, and I was really putting them in a situation. How many times are they going to need me, and I'm not going to be there for them? When they go to their first prom, and my sons need me to help them get dressed up and tie their bow tie, or when they need advice for their first girlfriend, or my daughter, when she gets married, I'm not going to be there to walk her down the aisle. And all these things that I thought that I was going to do one day, go to my children's, just something as simple as going to my children's high school graduations. I wasn't going to be there for that. I had just gone to my daughter's high school graduation in May, actually the beginning of June, after I'd just gotten out of the hospital, previously a couple months before. So I saw my daughter graduate from high school, and I was really sick when I went to her graduation too. I'd been out of the hospital just for a couple days when I went to her graduation, and I had really bad ascites and all kinds of stuff. It was tough, but I went. I wasn't going to miss that. And I was thinking about how I wasn't going to get to see my boys' graduation, and how that was going to affect them. Our kids want us there for that kind of stuff, and I wasn't going to be there for my children's when my boys got married, or when my daughter got married, and I wasn't going to get to see them go to their first job. I wasn't going to get to see them, become successful in life and become adults and get their own places, and just watch them grow. All that was gone, and that was really hard on me. But, like I said, the first thing that went through my mind wasn't, oh my gosh, my money, my physical possessions. None of that passed through my mind at all. Our health is the most important thing that we have. And a lot of times, at least for myself, we don't realize it until it's too late. When our health is gone, that we realize, oh no, I just lost the most important thing I had, because nothing else matters without our health. I mean, you could be the richest person in the world, but if your health is bad, none of that matters, because you can't enjoy your wealth if you're unhealthy. Nothing really matters if our health is bad, because we just can't enjoy the simple pleasures in life when we're ill like that. And thinking about, I only have this short period of time, what am I going to do during this period of time? And the first thing that I started thinking about is I've got to spend as much time as I can with my children and my wife, my family. I just want to create as many memories as I can with them. And after that happened and I came home, I was bedridden for about 3.5, 4 months. I couldn't do anything. I laid in the bed all day long. The ascites had gotten horrible. I couldn't get the water to come off. I was on diuretics and Lasix. I was urinating like every 5 minutes. I couldn't, be too far away from a bathroom. I had the hardest time, alone just getting up and using the restroom. I mean, when I first got home from the hospital, I had to use one of those little urinal things that you can pee into to go to the bathroom. And I'd actually taken them from the hospital and would lay in the bed and use the bathroom in those and set them beside the bed. My wife would have to dump them out for me because I was so sick. I just could not get up on my own. If I had to, if I needed to bathe myself, I needed someone to help me, my wife to help me go to the bathroom. She had to help me get my clothes off, help me into the bathtub. I couldn't get out of the bathtub on my own. It was a really tough time, and I spent a lot of time in the bathtub during that period of time as well, because my back and my stomach hurt so bad. The hot water helped it out a lot. And I had water all over my legs. The edema was in my thighs and my ankle. It was everywhere. I just had fluid all over my body. And it was a really, really tough time. And, life goes on. And after I'd come home, my wife had to go back to work. I mean, she was the only one working. My kids had to go back to school. So I spent a lot of days laying in the bed by myself, all alone, stuck, laying there, depressed. I didn't have a lot of hope during that period of time. And I've talked about this before, but I had a lot of really dark thoughts that were going through my head during that period of time. I often thought about just leaving my wife a note and saying, I decided that I didn't want to live anymore, and, just call 911. And this is the note that I thought about leaving her and saying, I'm in the woods, call the police, don't come looking for me, have them come down. This is where I'm at in the woods, and, you can come find me down there. Those are the kinds of thoughts that were going through my head. I just didn't know if I wanted to live anymore. Life had gotten, I was so depressed. I didn't want my children to watch me. I didn't want them to watch me die. I didn't want them to watch me slowly deteriorate worse and worse and worse. And I already was in a horrible state of health during that period of time. My kids didn't recognize me. They were even afraid just to give me a hug because I was so frail. I had lost all my muscle mass. My face was completely sunken in. All my muscles were gone. My chest was just skin and bones. I mean, you could see every bone in my body. It was a really, really tough time. And, like I said, I often contemplated, not living anymore. And but I decided that wasn't the way to go. And I decided that I wanted to spend every last moment I could with my children, and that's what I did. And as I laid there depressed, more time went by, and I decided one day, I was watching YouTube, and I came across Jennifer Schaefer's channel. and she was walking in a park with her daughter, and she was talking about how she was on hospice because she had found out that she had end-stage liver disease and was on hospice and all this stuff. And one day she decided she didn't want to do that, and she just got up, started doing things, started walking around. And after watching that video, I told myself, if she can do that, so can I. And I started to get up, and I started moving around, and I started doing just simple tasks, just getting up and making the coffee in the morning for my wife and I. And I told her that was going to be my job. And I remember how tough it was just getting up and making coffee, and how hard. I would have to use my walker to walk into the kitchen, and I would have to brace myself up against the wall and use one hand to do what I was doing. And as time went on, I told my wife, I'm gonna start cooking the kids dinner at night. And that was my duty for the day. I would lay in the bed all day long, waiting for the moment when my kids would get home, and then I would start working on their dinner. And something very simple as just throwing some French fries and chicken nuggets in an air fryer was really hard on me. But I got up and did it every day. Not saying that I cooked my kids chicken nuggets and French fries every day for dinner, but I did that a lot. I just couldn't cook a whole lot of food. But that's what I did. I got up and I made myself do that every single day. And as time went on, slowly but surely, I added a little bit more and more every single day. And then it got to the point where I started taking the trash out. And I would have the trash in my hand with the walker, walking it out to the trash cans. And I just kept pushing myself every single day. And I've talked about this as well. I would get a bucket and one of those little picker-upper sticks, and I would just pick up pine cones in the yard just to get out and get out into the sun and be outside, and to bring a little bit more positivity into my life of just being outside in the sunlight. I just wanted to get up out of the bed. I was so tired of laying there. It was so depressing. And I started getting up every day and doing more and more and more. And like I said, not once during this period of time did I think about any of my physical possessions. None of that stuff mattered to me anymore. I didn't care about any of that. None of it mattered. The only thing that mattered to me was my family and my health. And what can I do to improve it? And what can I do to live just a little bit longer? Because every single day matters. And like I said, I stopped worrying about the trivial things anymore, and I started living in the moment. I started being grateful for just the little small things in life. And I found that to be such a positive impact on me. Just being grateful. Being grateful that I woke up that morning. Because I didn't know when the day was going to come when I wasn't going to wake up. Or I was going to be back in the hospital again. And I had told my wife I wanted to be on hospice at home when that day finally did come. I did not want to go at a hospital. And still this day, I do not want to go at a hospital. I want to end my days at my house, surrounded by family and friends. There's just something about a hospital. I just don't like that environment, and that is not where I want to be when I finally do pass. But I started becoming grateful for the little things in life. Like I said, waking up, the sun coming out every day. Being grateful that I could get up and make coffee in the morning. Being grateful that I could get up and make my children their dinner. Getting up in the mornings on the weekend and making my kids breakfast. Getting to spend just a little bit of time with my children, watching a movie on a Friday night. And then as time went on, I started doing little things with them. We'd go for little walks in our woods. And I remember going out there with my children and, going on these little walks with them, and just being so tired and being so afraid because I was, down in the woods, and I was like, what if something happens to me? They're not going to be able to get me back out of here. And the anxiety that I would have, being in the woods with them. But I just wanted to get out and do something with them. And I would do as much as I could, and I would finally go, hey guys, I've got to go inside now. I'm not feeling well. And I would go back inside, but I would be so grateful for the opportunity that I got to spend with my children that day. And as time went on, and I became more grateful and began living in the moment every single day. I was appreciative for every second that I had on this planet. things began to improve for me. And I went and talked with a nutritionalist, and he helped me with my diet, told me a bunch of stuff that I needed to do in order to get the ascites off, like, consuming more protein and stuff like that. And I started doing those things. And the fluid started coming off. And then that January, I went and had my first initial TIPS procedure, which was a failure. And I woke up from that procedure in an enormous amount of pain, and was told when I woke up that the procedure was a failure, that they couldn't break through the blood clot. And the doctor came and spoke with me and said, that's the only time that we're going to be able to attempt this, and that I was going to be passing away in a couple of months. I had a blood clot in my portal vein. I had a couple of blood clots. There's a blood clot in my spleen, my splenic vein, portal vein. I had a couple of blood clots in my portal vein. And they had tried breaking through, but they couldn't get through it. And I had these capillaries that had grown on the outside. And the doctor told me, he said, when those capillaries end up getting clogged up, that's going to be it. You're probably not going to have any warning. It's just going to happen one day. And I had to come home. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital after that procedure, recovering from that surgery, and then came home, with a pretty bleak outlook. But I just dealt with it, and just kept moving forward. And I kind of pushed it out of my mind and just said, I'm just going to live every single day, and I'm going to enjoy every day, and I'm going to be grateful for every day, and I'm just going to try to be as positive as I possibly can. And just be happy that I have this second opportunity to spend more time with my children, because I could have passed away when I was in the hospital the other 2 times. And as time went on, I stopped worrying about it, and just spent as much time as I could with my family. And then come, I think it was May, I got a phone call from MUSC, and they said that the interventional radiologist wanted to speak to me. So my dad and I went down that day, and I spoke with the interventional radiologist, and he said, I'm leaving this hospital, and I want to try this one more time. I think that we can do it this time. He said, I want you to go home and think about it. And I told him I really had to think about it. And I thought long and hard, and called him back and said, let's do it. And June 21st of last year, I went and had, I think it was June 21st. That might have been January 21st on my first one. I don't remember the exact date, but I went and had my second TIPS procedure. And when I woke up, they told me I was successful, and they were able to break through that clot. And, everything changed in that moment. And they told me that, they had prolonged my life by doing that procedure. And, they had broken through the clot. That was going to be something I was always going to have to worry about, and I was going to be on blood thinners for the rest of my life and all this. But, my life had been extended, and I was super excited about it. And, here I am now, and it's, they gave me a year, and it's been a year and a half, and I'm still here. And, it just shows that you never know what miracle might happen. Just because a doctor says that, you've got X amount of time does not mean that that's necessarily true. Their guess is a guess. There's no exact science to it. They don't know for sure. So if a doctor has told you that, don't take that as hard fact. Just keep living your life the best that you can. And don't give up hope. Keep moving forward, and appreciate the small things, and be grateful that you woke up this morning. It's so funny how when we find out that that we're going to pass away, how nothing matters anymore, except for our life. And that anything that we have, all that, those physical possessions, those material possessions that we chase every single day, that none of that stuff has any importance at all. It's crazy how we realize that when we're told that we don't have much time left. We spend our whole lives going to work every single day, and working our tails off to buy this and that because we think that's going to bring us happiness. But at the end of the day, it doesn't bring any happiness. Happiness lies in our memories, in our families, being appreciative for the little things and being present in the moment. That's where real happiness lies. And it took me almost losing my life to finally realize that. And I'm really glad that I went through what I did now, because it really woke me up and made me realize what's really, really important in this life. And I don't know, it's just insane to me, all the years that I wasted thinking, I was working all day, 16-hour days, 6-7 days a week, chasing money and thinking that was going to bring me happiness, when it was there the whole time. The happiness that I desired was there that whole time, but I just didn't see it. I was blinded by this false sense of security and happiness that I thought was monetary and material possessions, and quickly realized that that's not it. The happiness lies in our friends, our family, our connections that we make with people, and being appreciative for the small things, and just being happy that we woke up and being thankful. It's just crazy to me. I wasted so many years not realizing that, but I'm glad that I know it now. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because for any of you guys that are out there struggling, and you're dealing with a health diagnosis, and your doctor's told you that you don't have much longer, or they've given you some pretty pretty upsetting news, just remember that you woke up this morning and you still have an opportunity to create new connections with people, to reestablish those connections with people that you might have lost connection with over the years. You can still talk to your friends, to your family, to your children if you have them, whatever it is. But the most important things in this life is our friends and our families and the connections. And like I said, it took me a long time to realize that, but just remember, at the end of the day, none of us are making it out of this alive. All of us are going to go at some point. And, some of us are going to go sooner than others. But it's about how we interpret our lives and how we want to make it. We have a choice every single day, and the choice is yours. The choice is ours to, either, lay around and feel sorry for ourselves and be depressed, or to take the things that we have in our life that are positive and really focus on those positive things, and make the best out of what we have. And that is the true meaning of happiness. Just being grateful and working with what you have. We all have different lives, and some of us have more than others, but at the end of the day, none of that material stuff matters, because we can't take it with us. And I can promise you that was not the first thing that went through my brain when they told me that I was going to pass away. The first thing that went through my brain was my kids, my family, my friends, all the people that I wanted to see and talk to again. Those were the most important things to me in those moments. And, just remember to keep your hope, because you never know. You just never know what miracle might be around the corner. But anyway, guys, I don't want to end this on a negative note. Like I said, I just want to talk about this today, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are sick or ill, and, struggling, just dealing with the news they might have gotten, and, dealing with their health. And I've been there. Trust me, I have. And, there is hope on the other side. And, keeping a positive mindset is really, really important. Don't focus on all the negative stuff. Remember to be thankful for the small things in life. Thankful for the fact that you woke up this morning. And whatever those small things may be, you can make those little things into big things. And as long as we focus on the positive. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. And for any of you guys that are out there that are sick right now, you know, just stay positive. I know it's hard. I know it can be tough. But I'm right here with you. And if you guys have any questions or comments or whatever, please leave them in the comment section. You know, if you have any questions about what I went through, I'd be happy to answer them. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I love you guys so much. And I'm not depressed or anything like that right now. It's just something that was on my mind this morning. I just wanted to talk about it today. And I've seen a lot of people that are here on the channel lately that are dealing with a lot of health consequences. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this today. Just to bring a little bit of hope to anybody out there that's struggling right now. You just never know. You never know. It doesn't matter what the doctors told you. Just keep pushing forward. Miracles do happen every single day. And you might be one of them. So with that said, guys, I will see y'all tomorrow. Love y'all so much. And y'all have a great, wonderful day. Bye-bye.